I'm recording this video, but I don't even know where to start. I don't even know what I should talk about. YouTube is my therapy. YouTube, the gym, and just fulfilling my goals. These are my therapy. Ever since I was a kid, I've had some crazy confidence issues. I don't know why. Is it because I came to the US when I was 4 and I felt out of place? I didn't even like America when I came here. I'm not sure what the reason is I had such confidence issues, but there's definitely a reason why I did have these issues. Or I still do have these issues, but it's definitely progressed to a better position. I'm a more confident, more self-esteem person these days. But the thing is, I'm still depressed. I came to the US when I was 4, went to school in the US, kindergarten through 12th grade, went to college in the US. I'm about to graduate college. I'm about to create a life in the US. Everything's happening in the US, but my life didn't begin in the US. My life began in Haiti. That's where I was born. I was born in Haiti and moved to the US when I was 4. Maybe I just felt out of place. Maybe that's why I had such crazy confidence issues, and I still somewhat have these confidence issues to these days. But the point is, like, when I was in school, elementary school, middle school, I had no clue what my life was going to be like when I became an adult. I didn't even think of adulthood. I just thought of now, what I was doing at the time. But even then, at the time, I didn't think of anything serious. I was just a kid who went to school, woke up, went to school, went home, and then I either did my homework or played video games on my HP family computer. And I rarely did my homework. It was a bad thing. I did not like school. I hated school. I hated homework. I didn't do any of it. The only thing I remotely liked was history and science. I probably didn't like these things, but within myself, my personality, who I was as a kid, and of course who I am today, I was a genuine person who wanted to be genuine to others, who wanted to fit in with others, who wanted to be helpful to others. I was a loving person at heart. But of course, every human being has its flaws. I was very loving, but at the same time, I had a lack of morals. I lied for the sake of me fitting in. But when I hit middle school, I wanted to stop lying. So I did stop lying. To a degree, of course. Of course, teenagers always lie to some extent. And that's when I began my moral journey, becoming a better person morally, ethically. I stopped lying, or pursued to stop lying, and then I pursued to expand my relationship with God. And of course, my mother raised me with God. She taught me herself. The first thing I remember my mother teaching me was to be nice, or to be a kind person at heart. And I always listened to that. I listened. I was a kind person, as I said, but I had a lack of understanding of these morals. I was kind, but I was only being kind for myself. I was kind to suit others, but I wasn't kind for the goodness of myself and the goodness of others. So I lied to fit in, to make others feel good, and therefore I lied to myself, because I wasn't actually living up to my morals. But besides that, I wasn't conscious of that, of course, because I was a kid. Of course, I was just acting like I was just trying to be kind, but I didn't have any type of knowledge on what did it really mean to be kind. Was it just making people feel good, or actually being a kind person at heart, just seeking to make people comfortable without lying? Comfortable also to myself, and lying is not comfortable to the self. When you lie, you definitely feel that sense of guilt. Yeah, definitely feel that sense of guilt. And when I was in elementary school, I didn't really think of anything else. I only thought of enjoyment. I only thought enjoyment was the only piece of existence. And everything that caused me to suffer was somehow bad. But let me continue my middle school explanation journey. In middle school, that's when my mental hit, because puberty hits when you're in middle school, and that's when my morality actually started to become an understanding. Like I said, I stopped trying to lie my way into everything. I tried to become a better person through the flaws that I saw in myself at the time. But I still didn't like school. I still did not do my homework, did not study very often. And of course, there's discipline from your parents. I started to realize that discipline really does mean something, and it's not something that just occurs to you just because your parents feel like it. It's because your parents want you to learn through operant conditioning, teaching you that these things do not bring forth good fruits. It only brings forth bad fruits. So they discipline you so you understand that everything brings forth a consequence. That's what operant conditioning does. And the way your parents condition you discipline you based on operant conditioning, that's their own way. I'm not going to judge, of course. I'm not going to say something's abuse when it's not actually abuse, because abuse is something you do out of pure hatred for something, not out of love. And the discipline my parents did to me, it was out of love, surely. And of course, the discipline did hurt to them as well, because of course they don't want to hurt you in any sort of way, and they don't want to hurt you in an emotional way nor a physical way, right? But they do it because they love you. It's tough love. You need to speak to them. You need to physically discipline them as well. That's what I believe. But it's different for every child, of course, too. So, yeah. And that's when I really stopped doing what I wanted to do. Stopped feeling like my parents' words were nothing. I started taking my parents' words into action. I started making my own principles. Started reading the Bible, studying the Bible, and that brought me a long way. We're gonna get into that. That brought me a very long way. And it built me as a person. Truly did. I started cursing when I was in 4th grade because I heard some people cursing in the back of my bus. So I was like, why can't I curse? I'm gonna start cursing because of them. And I still cursed in middle school. I was still nice in middle school. I was nicer, actually. And this nice wasn't a nice to please others, but it was a nice to be kind. Just don't say something that hurt others just because you want to say it. Of course, there's a difference between constructive criticism and being mean. Constructive criticism is being kind, even if the person takes it as a negative comment towards one aspect of their personality. And of course, they're going to take it negative because that part of their personality is negative. You should take it negative because it is a negative aspect of your personality. And that's what I was doing to myself as well. I was constructively criticizing myself in order to become a better person. And that started when I was in middle school. And I just kept studying the Bible, building my relationship with God, building my principles, building my understanding of philosophy, of the Bible, everything, right? But I was still a long way from being where I should be. And that's when I enter high school. But before I get into high school, I forgot to mention as well, 7th grade was probably my best year in terms of academics in middle school, because I got all A's on all the assignments in my history class. And remember, I said history was one of my favorite classes because I just love history. It teaches you about the things that happened in the old days, which led to the position we are in these days. I love that. And that really showed me the potential I had when it comes to learning things and my gifts. The gifts I had. I had a gift for history, but I was also interested in science. It was just the things they were teaching in science I didn't really understand because I didn't study and I didn't really pay attention in class, I'm not gonna lie. My mind was all over the place. I feel like I had OCD or something, or ADHD. I had an attention problem, but that fixed when I was in high school. Now let's get into high school. You keep growing up, you keep experiencing things in life, you keep growing, you keep studying, you keep doing what you love. I kept studying the Bible because that was truly the one thing I actually loved. I wanted to put time into it. I wanted to excel at it. I wanted to excel in my relationship with God. I wanted to excel in my understanding of God's teachings. I wanted to excel in philosophy, even though I didn't know it was philosophy that I was studying. And theology, of course. But high school comes. And of course, I still have my problems. But high school is when I actually stopped cursing. Freshman year of high school, I decided cursing isn't good. Because I was just studying the Bible, like I said, and I realized cursing isn't good. Your words have much power. Words can bring life, and words can bring death into being. Human beings have a lot of power, and we don't realize that. We really don't. And these very words I'm telling you guys right now, it's going to motivate you, or it's going to grieve you in a way, because you're going to see something similar in your life. But I wanted to motivate you because I want you to really notice, like, there's no harm in denying yourself and working on yourself to become a better person. There's no problem with change. You should change for the better, but don't change who you are. And we're gonna expand on that at the end of this story. But when in high school, I stopped cursing and I gained more friendships. Even though I remember I was a shy person, I did not have much friends. I only had 3 people in my friend group. And then one extra person joined in high school, and that one person really destroyed my confidence. The confidence I built along the years really destroyed it, because I became depressed that same year. A lot of things happened that year. Not sure if I should say it. I do want to be honest though, and this is my story. I didn't grow up with my biological father. Neither did I grow up with my grandmother. I never met my grandfather, passed away decades ago. And both my grandmother and my father, my biological father, died in the same month. And it was crazy. My mother had to fly to Haiti, where the funeral was, and I had to attend a funeral where many people were very sad, and it was really sad to be a part of, honestly. Even though I didn't grow up with my father, I didn't really have a connection with him. It didn't really impact me, of course, because what kind of impact would it have if I never grew up with my father? Because my mother divorced him when I was 7 years old, I'm pretty sure. And of course she had her reasons, which I agree with her for those reasons. But that was crazy, really. It was really, really crazy that this happened in the same month. And I was like, I still remember my thought process in that year. I was like, this can't be a coincidence. How could they pass away in the same month? It's actually crazy. I still don't know why that happened to this day, but there's probably a reason why it happened like that. And but anyway, it didn't really affect me because, of course, I didn't really have a deep connection with these people, and I wasn't someone who really spoke to people either. I only spoke to myself in my head. I only spoke to my friends. I only spoke to my few friends, which were 3 people. I only studied the Bible and enjoyed YouTube because I was always watching YouTube. Because, as I said, YouTube was my therapy. Like, I love YouTube. This YouTube channel even goes back many, many years, but I deleted those videos because I just didn't see any fruitful stuff coming from them, to be honest. Many of the things said, I've learned a lot from too, and realized they were truly genuine things that I was saying, but they weren't necessarily entirely correct. There was some truth to it, but it wasn't entirely correct. But yeah, I became depressed in my sophomore year of high school, and that was one of the worst years I ever had in my entire existence at the time. And it really, really got me down because every time I would wake up to go to school, I did not want to wake up. It was not good at all. There was this one day I had very negative thoughts of doing negative things. It was not good. I don't know what happened to me. But of course, it sparked something in my heart. It revealed something to me. It motivated me to continue becoming a better person. So I stopped cursing the year before. I didn't curse at all. Took a lot of discipline. I did not curse at all for months upon months. And I still don't really curse that often either. I should continue to motivate myself to stop cursing as well, because you are peer pressured in a way by others to curse because they curse so often as well. But you need to remember, you should not be controlled by others. You should be controlled by you and you alone. You have your own will, and that will must follow what is right. It must follow the principles you live by. God gave you this will, by the way. So maybe you should credit God and repay him, of course. But I broke apart that person I added to the group, because of course he was causing some crazy damage to me mentally and my entire friend group, because me and my best friend almost broke apart because of him. But anyway, I continued studying the Bible. I continued spreading the positivity that I had in my heart, the love I had in my heart for others. Even if those other people didn't really agree with me. I wanted to get better at school at the time as well, but I didn't really have the skill or the knowledge to do so because I was so bad at school beforehand. So I didn't really have the footstool in my place to actually help me to get better. But I was always good at philosophy, theology, science in a way, because I was always watching a History Channel on my TV, and I was always good at history. But I still struggled with school until junior year of high school, where COVID hit, and I spent both my junior year and my senior year of high school in quarantine, and I excelled in my courses. I took a geometry class and I passed with a B+. Best score I've ever had in math ever in my entire life. And that further proved my point. Like, I have the power to do these things, but it's up to me to push myself to do better, to become greater, to excel in everything I did. That was my goal. And it wasn't my goal simply for myself, but it was my goal because my parents wanted me to excel at everything I did. And of course, God wanted me to excel at everything I did. And I lived for God at that point. I lived for Him. I did everything for God, and I never gave up either. Even at the time, like, it might have been a delusion of mine, but at the time, I realized, like, my life is so bad, so I might as well become nothing after I graduate. That one thing I did want to become was a preacher, because I was always on Discord. I started going on Discord in freshman year of high school, and I was always on Discord, either debating someone or preaching someone, motivating someone, guiding them towards the right path. I loved doing it, and it brought so much life into my soul. I loved it. That was the reason I was living. And I really thought I was going to be nothing after high school. So I started practicing for boxing. I worked out a little bit, started practicing boxing, and then I realized it's not going to work out. Boxing will not work out. And also in quarantine is when I actually consistently posted YouTube videos about teaching people about God. But I also deleted those videos because they were lacking in knowledge deeply. But they were actually genuine videos that wanted to help people, of course. And there's some truth in the things that I was saying, but overall it wasn't really the right thing to say. Even though it was also positive, it wasn't the right thing, trust me. And then I graduate high school and I get a job. I start getting money. I start taking care of myself even more. And I realized, like, my social skills are so terrible. And I start improving in my social skills, talking to more people at my job, just breaking my barrier, my inner barrier of being shy or lacking confidence. And that's when I start my fitness journey. When I was 19 actually, I started my fitness journey. And the reason I did start my fitness journey was because I wanted to gain more confidence in who I was. It wasn't because I had a lack of self-esteem in my body image, but because I had a lack of self-esteem in general, in my mental head. That was always my problem ever in my entire life, which is why I even recorded this video. Even recording this video, it takes a lot of confidence, because when you put a video on YouTube, everyone can see that video. Everyone on earth can watch this video, even though it probably won't happen. This video probably is gonna get like 20, 40 views, nothing more. But yeah, like anyone can see this video, so it takes a lot of confidence to do this. Confidence to speak in front of people, show them who you are, what you've been through. It takes a lot of confidence. Many people don't do this, but through the years, I just learned, like, I really don't care what people think anymore. I used to a lot. I had a lot of problems mentally back then, but I've grown through them because of my faith, because of my perseverance, because I knew I could become something better. I had a fire within me. I lived for that fire. That fire was God. So I didn't think I would get into a college either when I graduated high school. And I actually wasn't able to get accepted by any of the colleges I applied to, but one. At the expense of something, though. I had to sacrifice something. I had to sacrifice 1 month because I had to live on campus for a month in the summertime in order to be accepted into the school. I tell my parents that, and they're like, "What?" They freaked out because they're afraid that I would catch the wrong people and become the wrong person. But it did not happen because I know my principles, even though they didn't know that I had principles. They didn't know I had years of study behind my back. I've built my character. I've built my principles. I am a man of God, truly. It may not seem like that when I walk in the street, when I work, but I truly am a man of God. And I get accepted to the school. I choose my major as psychology, and I do 2 years in college as a psychology major. I take a lot of psychology classes, and I learn so much about psychology. And it reinforced what I knew about the Bible, reinforced what I knew about myself, the world. And that's when I became in love with psychology. I started watching hundreds of movies that were psychologically thrilling. And I realized many of these things they speak of in psychology, I have a little bit of each of them, a little aspect of each of them. And I realized, like, I'm a very psychological person. I think so deeply. And when I started college, that's when I actually started thinking really, really deep. To the point that, oh man, it would blow your mind, the deep things I thought of. Can't even say it in this video because it was just so deep. And I learned so much about the Bible, God, theology, philosophy. I also took philosophy classes in college, and that helped as well. And that's when I became really interested in philosophy and theology, and I really grew. There's a lot of things I'm not speaking of right now because there's just so much, but I really grew as a person, and I realized maybe I want to be a psych nurse. But then I noticed, no, I won't be able to, because my GPA is way too low for that, because of my lack of experience, lack of commitment to school back before then, back in the previous days, didn't allow me to have that foundation of knowledge, so I couldn't really raise my GPA. I wanted to, but I couldn't. It wasn't in my ability to actually do that. It was in my willpower. But because my ability was lacking, my willpower basically couldn't do anything. And I built a lot of willpower because of the things I've been through. Yeah, I built a lot of discipline, a lot of willpower because of the things I've been through. And I was working, of course. I built a lot of discipline through work as well. And it taught me so much in life. I've grown so much, and you guys wouldn't believe it. The people who've known me for that long, they'll see me and they say, wow, this kid, he's truly a miracle, because I've been through so much things, and even they don't know certain things, but they see that I have a will, I have a purpose. No matter what position I was, or you are in life, you have a purpose. And you need to strive, you need to work hard to reach that purpose. And I forgot to say this as well. I built a Discord server, 8 of them. And in each one, I managed to gain at least 300 people. They were all Christian servers. I managed to build 300 people in my servers. But when I started college, I chose to abandon my Discord servers because I wanted to expand my life to the outer world. And that's when I started taking YouTube seriously. Because nothing is on Discord, nothing is online. You need to build a life in the real world. The online world isn't real. It's all an illusion. So you need to take that commitment and bring it into real life. Your power is real. Your will is real. And your purpose is definitely real. Find that purpose and go all at it. Do whatever you can to fulfill that purpose, because that purpose is God-given, and it's the only reason you will find to live in this world. You will find no other reason. You will be depressed for your entire life if you never find your purpose. Purpose is so important, because without purpose, I would not be here. I would not have been able to overcome my depression. I would not have been able to overcome the people who hurt me mentally. But even if these people hurt me mentally, I had discipline. That discipline my parents raised me with. I was able to learn from these negative people. You need to learn to take the negativity and build it into discipline. You need to become a better person. Be the better that you wish the world to have. It all starts with you. I need you guys to motivate each other in the comment section. Express yourselves in the comment section, because this YouTube channel is all about self-expression. Express yourself. Build relationships. Become better together. We need to get better together. That's why I live. I live so you can thrive. We live so we can thrive. We are nothing without each other. You are built by the people who live amongst you. You are built by how you take these things into your own self, by how you treat yourself. You need to have principles. So continuing the story, right? So I realized, what do I want to do in life? So I realized I have a passion for God. I have a passion for the church. This is my plan, right? This is something I've never told anyone. I want to work in the church, help the church grow in the psychological world, in the world in general. I want to help the church, because there's such a big misconception about church and Christianity as a whole. It needs to be ridden of. It's just terrible. I hate it. So yeah, that's one. And of course, because of my busyness, I work and go to school. I barely have time to even go to church. I haven't even visited. I visited once, but I never visited ever since. I never even went to a church service or Holy Liturgy, Divine Liturgy, as we say in the Eastern Orthodox Church. But yeah, that's step one. And I realized, like, I have a passion for fitness. I have a passion for self, or to better someone's own self, better ourselves. So I want to become a personal trainer. I'm becoming a personal trainer in a week, a certified personal trainer by ACE, and I'm going to start working as a personal trainer at a local gym. I want to build my credibility, build my presence, social presence, because that's what I was working through all my life. Building my social presence, because I've always been a person with a lack of confidence, shyness, and I grew over that, thankfully. Not afraid to speak to people, not afraid to express myself, as you can see. Even though it may be tough to express myself sometimes. I wasn't able to do this 2 years ago. It all took hard work and commitment to do this. And without hard work and commitment, you can't do this. Hard work, commitment, and faith. These three things you can't do nothing without. And of course, these three things are all rooted by love. You need to love. That one thing my mother taught me. First time she taught me anything. Kesley, be caring, be kind. And in elementary school, we used to get these necklaces to show the quality that we had throughout all the years. And I got 6 respect necklaces, because I was just such a kind person, because that's the one thing my mother taught me, to be kind. Because kindness is love. To love the other person. Loving is the only way we can better each other, better ourselves. And no one knows this either. Most people don't know this, but I also have a passion for singing. I actually want to become a singer later on in my career. And I also want to act. So we have a long way to go. It's all going to take time, but it's all going to happen sooner or later. With patience, hard work and commitment, and faith, and love, it will come to be.